Hi, 7th and 8th graders. A little bit different today, but we are actually going to do some distributive property. We're going to take some notes before I let you guys go and practice today. For the illustration that we're doing today, we're going to pretend that we are making cake. We have a box of cake. Too bad we're not in class and I could give you some, cupcakes or something like that from this box. But when you're making a boxed cake, if you have ever done this before, you need to have some ingredients. So you mix this box, you'd open it up, mix the chocolate powder with water, vegetables, oil, and eggs. Now let's say that I wanted to make a bunch of different, a bunch of boxes of cake. I would need to calculate each of these things times the number of mixes that I'm making, all right? So on our notes today, I have different variables, and the different variables represent the different things that I'm putting into my cake mix. So E represents eggs, the number of eggs. B would be the number of boxes of cake mix. The T would be the number of teaspoons of oil. And so if I was making one box of cake, I might need 3 eggs, 1 box, and 2 teaspoons of oil. So this is a single batch, all right? And so I would represent an expression. I would have 3 eggs, 1 box, and 2 spoons of oil. And I would simply just add those up. And if we were going to represent this or explain it, we would say that one entire recipe, okay, that's what the one means. Is one recipe is is 1 times each ingredient that are in the parentheses. Sorry, we ran out of space. Parentheses. All right, so 1 times each item in the parentheses, and that is an entire recipe. Now, if I was going to make 2 boxes of cake mix, all right, I have the same thing, but now I'm going to double. So instead of needing 3 eggs, I now need 6 eggs. Instead of 2 boxes of cake mix, or 1 box of cake mix, I need 2 boxes of cake mix. Instead of 2 teaspoons of oil, I need 4 teaspoons of oil. Okay, what we have done is saying, well, I need 2 of each of the ingredients. All right, so this is how we set it up. We say 2 times 3 plus 1 plus 2. All right, everything is doubled. I have 6 plus 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. And that is a double batch. So what I have done is I have distributed my ingredients. 1 batch plus 2 batches is doubled that amount, okay? So you do this by multiplying a number outside parentheses. Whoa, parentheses. Wow. By each term, or in our case, by each ingredient, right? Inside the parentheses. All right, so we multiplied 2 times 3, 2 times 1, 2 times 2. All right, the same thing is true if we had just, we had variables. All right, so distributive property would say, since this variable is on the outside of parentheses, I multiply it times each of the terms inside. So I would multiply A times B and A times C. So I would have A times B plus A times C. All right, so we're going to pretend that we're going to prepare a recipe that's 5 frozen bananas per batch. Maybe I want to make banana bread, and I need 5 bananas per batch of banana bread, and then I'm going to put chocolate in it, and I need X amount of chocolate. All right, so we're going to write that out. All right, we have, for each batch, I need chocolate. And for each batch, I need 5 bananas. All right, but we're going to quadruple our recipe. So I'm going to multiply it times 4. This same thing should work for any value for X. Okay, and then you're going to simplify it, and we're going to write our simplified expression. When we simplify it, we actually multiply it out. So 4 times X plus 4 times 5 is 20. All right, so we would need 20 bananas. All right, sorry guys, my phone video, I lost you. So last thing we said was that when you distributed it, you got 4x plus 20, so you 20 bananas, and then 4 times whatever amount of chocolate. All right, and so then also I needed to note that if your number was negative that you're distributing, so say it's -4, you're going to distribute the negative as well. So it would be -4x, and -4 times 5 is -20. All right, and so then we did these 2 samples, or I did them. The -2 is distributed, so it would be -2x, and then -2 times -5 is 10. So it would be -2 plus 10. And then when it said negative, and then you have parentheses, that really means -1. You could put a 1 in there, and that if that would help. So you have -1 times 4e, which gives you -4e, and -1 times 3 is -3. All right, so then if we flip the page over, you have some practice problems. The first page, these are all numbers. The second part is it has variables in it, as well as some extra steps to practice. All right, so 16 total problems. Let's look at the first. We'll look at example 1 on both of them. This one says 300 times 100 plus 4. So just distribute it, okay? I know that you guys can do 100 plus 4, but we're practicing distributing. So please don't do that. Show your work on this one. So 3 times 100 plus 3 times 4. Okay, do it like this just so that you're practicing the whole concept today, which is distributive property. Okay, so you're doing that numerically, and then with your variables, you're doing the same thing. So this is -6 times 2x. So think -6 times 2 is -12x, and then -6 times 3, -18. All right, so go ahead and finish. You have 5 plus 9. You have 14 more problems to practice today for distributive property.